I have to follow that. Very powerful. Well, everyone, welcome for coming. I hope you did not feel welcome until I just said that. That's my responsibility. And I want to welcome our guests, especially to Matan and Stephen, for being here and for sharing their stories with us. Yesterday, we read a Haftarah from the prophet Isaiah, where at the end, towards the end, I'm roughly paraphrasing, he said, you spend money, like, why do you spend money on food that gives you no nourishment? Why do you buy these things that don't bring you happiness? It's a rough paraphrasing of Isaiah. He was a much better poet. Why do we always confuse things that don't make a difference for the essential things that do make a difference, right? When we watch this video and we see Jews from, and not just Jews, Israelis too, of all sorts, celebrating their common bond of celebrating life and freedom from an incredible diversity of backgrounds. Because of October 7th, because of the situation, right? Then we remove those temporary things that make us at times think that there's divisions between us or that there are separations between us. An event like October 7th and the situation that we're in help us remove those unimportant things that Isaiah was warning us about and help us see the truth, the common unity that binds us together. The video represented that beautifully. And that's why we're here tonight, because of what we share together, because of those common and vital and important things that sometimes when it's too easy and we're too comfortable, we forget about, and we get distracted by the surface. So thank you all for being here. It's really essential and important that we are, and it's wonderful to welcome two heroes of the Jewish people for doing their part, and for us to hear their stories tonight as well. So, Cantor is going to lead us in the prayer for Israel. A prayer for the soldiers, I'm sorry. Prayer for the IDF, absolutely. Do you want people?
Yeah, please rise.
Everyone please stand.
מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב הוא יברך את חיילי צבא הגנה לישראל העומדים על משמר ארצנו והרי אלוהינו מגבול הלבנון ועד מדבר מצרים ומן הים הגדול עד לבוא ערבה ביבשה ובים הוא יברך את חיילי צבא הגנה לישראל ייתן ייתן אדוני את אויבינו הקמים עלינו ניגפים לפניהם. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור ויציל את חיילינו מכל צרה וצוקה ומכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם. יהדבר שונאינו תחתיהם ויתרם בכתר ישועה ובעטרת ניצחון תעטרם. כי אדוני אלוהיכם ההולך עמכם להילחם לכם עם אויביכם, להושיע אתכם. הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל. הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל. ונאמר אמן. May be seated.
May be seated, and we're going to first hear from Matan, and that's going to begin, though, with a video that Wendy is going to play for us.
מאז שאני זוכר את עצמי. תמיד אני הייתי מסתכל על אותם לוחמים בתור גיבורי על, וגם האמת שדימנתי את עצמי במלחמה. המשפחה שלי, כמו כל המשפחות, לא רצו שהילד ילך לקרבי. עם זה, ידעתי שאני צריך לעשות מה שאני צריך לעשות, ושצטרכו להתמודד. התגייסתי לנחל בנובמבר 2021. בשבילי הגיוס היה הגשמת חלום. יותר התרגשות מילד שעולה לכיתה א'. זה מה שרציתי כל החיים, להיות לוחם. וזה מתגשם, זה אשכרה קורה. הרגשתי שלהיות לוחם זה הדבר הכי משמעותי שעשיתי כל החיים. כשפרצה המלחמה, הרגשתי זעם בלתי מוסבר על כל מה שעשו לנו. זעם שדחף אותי להישאר מפוקס כל התקופה מהשביעי ועד הרגע שנכנסנו ללחימה. לפני שנכנסנו לעזה, היה בסוף אוקטובר, היינו ממש הגדוד חי"ר הראשון שנכנס רגלית לעזה. אנחנו כבר כאילו הכי חמים על זה, כולם כבר בשירים על זה. ממש מרעילים את עצמנו.
זה היה במתקן האדם, נסעתי להביא לו משהו שהוא ביקש, ושם הוא אמר לי, כנראה שזו פעם אחרונה שאת רואה אותי. ובאמת, אחרי כמה ימים הוא נכנס, בתמרון הראשון. ניסיתי להיות חזקה, אבל לא יכולתי. לא יכולתי לשלוט בזה. פשוט בכיתי בהיסטריה, כי פחדתי לאבד אותו.
ממש לפני הכניסה, ממש כאילו מול הגדר, אספנו כל הפלוגה באיזשהו מקום שהיה יחסית מוגן מעזה. מ"פ נותן את הנאום שלו ומסביר בדיוק מה אנחנו הולכים לעשות, ושנייה אחרי זה אני עומד מול כל הפלוגה ומקריא תפילה להצלחת החיילים, תפילה לשמירה לפני כניסה למלחמה. וזה רגע מהמרגשים שהיו לי במלחמה. הרגשתי באמת את הכוח שלנו, בתור יהודים שמתאספים ביחד לקרוא איזושהי תפילה שבאמת נתנה לנו כוח. הסתדרנו אחרי זה בשני טורים, הסתכלנו לתוך עזה ונכנסנו. כל היום על הרגליים, בלילה כל הזמן ערנות. לאמא שלי היה איזשהו קטע, כשהייתי בצבא בשבועות שטח, לדוגמה בטלפון, אז היא הייתה מדברת איתי בהודעות. היא הייתה פשוט שולחת הודעות כל פעם שהיא חושבת עליי, וכשהוא בא לה לשתף איזה משהו, שולחת את ההודעה, והיא יודעת שבסוף השבוע אני פותח את הטלפון וקורא הכל. משהו כמו 30 יום ברציפות בפנים, 30 יום מאוד אינטנסיביים, יצאנו סוף סוף להתרעננות, קיבלנו את הטלפון, וזה אולי יצאת הראשון גם שפתחתי עם אמא. הייתי איזה שעתיים רק על לצאת עם אמא.
אני קשורה אליו מאוד. ומבחינתי כל יום לא לדבר איתו, ושהוא לא ידע מה עובר עלינו, ואנחנו לא נדע מה עובר עליו, זה היה פחד יומיומי. אני הייתי יושבת ובוכה פה עד הבוקר, הייתי יושבת במרפסת, מסתכלת לצד דרום, מבינה איפה הוא, מסתכלת עליו, מדברת איתו בלילה, מתפללת. זה מה שפחדתי, שמישהו הפתיע אותו.
זה היה ב-17 בדצמבר, ראינו במהלך איזושהי מתקפה חטיבתית על כיכר פלסטין, שבעיר עזה. יצאתי עם חייל שלי לאגף מחבל, הוא בא לתקוף את החברים שלנו, אז יצאנו לתקוף אותו. כשעברנו מולו הוא פגע בנו. אני קיבלתי כדור באגן, תומר קיבל 3 כדורים בחזה, קרמי, ברוך השם, הציל אותו. הייתי מאושפז 1.5 חודשים, שבהם למדתי איך לשבת, איך ללכת, איך בסוף לעלות מדרגות. זה המלחמה השנייה.
הוא אלוף, הוא הוכיח שיכול להתגבר על הכל.
השיקום היה מאוד קשה, הוא עדיין קשה, אבל למדתי תוך כדי לתת לעצמי מטרות שעושות לי טוב ולחפש לעצמי איזושהי משמעות. להתנדב באיזשהו פרויקט שנקרא גיבור לגיבור, שזה פרויקט שלי עם חייל עם צרכים מיוחדים, ושנינו לומדים לרכב על סוס ביחד. נסה להיות מאוד פעיל בקרב פצועים אחרים ולעזור לעוד פצועים, ופתחתי קהילה של משהו כמו 1,000 פצועים.
אז עוד זה שהוא עוזר פה למלא אנשים, הוא גם פתח מלא קבוצות בוואטסאפ, מלא קהילות.
ואם יש לי שאלה שאני לא יודעת לקבל איזשהו זכויות מסוימות, בעיקר מול משרד הביטחון,
הוא תמיד נותן מעצמו. הוא רואה מאוד את האחרים.
קיבלתי עוד פעם את החיים במתנה, ואני מרגיש שנתינה זה חלק בלתי נפרד מלהשתכר ומלקבל כוחות מעצמך.
שרופה. אוי אוי.
את המחיר הייתי מוכן לשלם לא פעם ולא פעמיים, והייתי מוכן לעשות גם יותר. אתה באמת עושה את הדבר הכי טוב שילד בגיל שלך יכול לעשות למען העם שלו, למען המדינה שלו. להילחם בשביל מה שהוא מאמין. בעיניי אין טהור מזה.
מוריד את הווסט, שם את הווסט ככה על כיסא, בסדר? מוריד את הנעליים, שלא יהיה לו חס וחלילה בטעות לא נוח, מוריד את הנעליים, מוציא את הטלפון מהכיס, באינסטגרם.
בדיקה, just check in.
ואתה מגיע, אתה תופס עוד לוחם כזה, אתה אומר שבת, לא שבת, הדחה, לא הדחה, כשהגעתי למחלקה.
He's also a good guy. Yeah, go good. Okay, hope you can focus on me. So hi everyone. First of all, thank you so much for having me and Steve. It means a lot to me personally. It's a great honor to be here. So as you learned in the video, I was serving in the Nahal Brigade. I was in active duty. I'm 21 years old. I was part of the first brigade to enter Gaza by foot when the ground operation started. We were literally the first division to walk in Gaza. That was back in the end of October, something like the 28th. I was fighting for about a month and a half until December 17th. That was the day I was injured. I was in Palestine Square, that's an area in the north side of Gaza Street. I was in a building with 3 other soldiers. One of them was a soldier of mine, he was a paramedic. We were guarding a group of about 35 prisoners, Gaza prisoners we captured. Among them Hamas terrorists. The rest of our unit went to conquer a very important building in the end of the road. One of our guards spotted someone with a weapon walks in the alley behind the building. He tried to shoot him, he didn't have enough time. He called me immediately. I ran to him, we both tried to contact our friends. We realized he was on his way to attack them. So we tried to call them in a communication device, but it didn't work. We probably didn't have enough service. We realized we have way less than minutes and we had to do something quick. I decided to just leave 2 of the soldiers with the prisoners, which is not safe because they are some of them Hamas terrorists, and just take Tomer, the soldier of mine, and go out there and try to surround the terrorist and maybe let our friends know that the terrorist is there before he's reaching them and surprising them. So this whole thing is seconds. I'm just deciding to take Tomer and we're going, if the terrorist was walking in the alley behind the building, so we were going by the main road in the main exit of the building. So I was looking for another entry to the alley to look after the terrorist. Couldn't find any, so I made the right turn. In like 300 feet, I saw my friends, my unit. They were just breaking the gate of the wanted building, and I saw that literally next to this very gate, there is a turn to the same alley where the terrorist was walking. I figured I have literally seconds until he reaches them. I didn't know what to do. I tried to scream to them that there is a terrorist and he's about to come. But over the noise of war, they couldn't hear me. Everyone wore earplugs, a lot of shooting, explosive, a lot of noise. I was always shooting to my right. That was Street of Stores. I wanted to make sure that no one's there. And if someone is there, then he's gonna put his head down because I'm shooting there. Unfortunately, the terrorist probably heard me before the soldiers did, before my friends did, and he managed to enter one of the stores from the back door of the building. As I'm walking close to the stores, in like 100 feet from my friends, they're realizing that I'm there, and the unit's commander was getting pissed because he didn't understand why I'm on Gaza streets alone. It's very, very difficult, very dangerous to go on Gaza streets, 2 soldiers by yourself. No one knows you're out there. But I didn't care. I had to warn them before I surprised them. So exactly as I'm starting to speak with the unit's commander and let him know that that there is a terrorist and we need to attack him first, at this second I'm walking past his store and he is shooting at us both, me and Tomer. I got the first bullet to my hip and fell face down in front of him, about 10 feet from him. Tomer got 3 bullets to his chest, but thank God the ceramic vest saved him. At that point, on the floor, I fell on my weapon. Because of a bullet in the center of the mess, I couldn't even crawl, couldn't do anything. I saw the terrorist, I saw the flash that came out of his weapon. I knew he was literally next to me. I knew it's a matter of seconds until he takes the next shot. At that point, I'm just begging that Tomer is fine, because Tomer was screaming And that's all I could think of. Tomer wasn't my first priority. The second thing was I'm about to die, and I'm somehow peaceful with it because I know that if I'm dying, at least that's the way. That's somewhat kind of angry with myself that I'm doing it to my family. When you're in such near-death experience, you really think about everything at the same time. It's all a matter of seconds. At the same time, I'm trying to show with my hands to my friends what's going on. They didn't even realize what's going on. They saw me walk in, and then all of a sudden I'm just falling and bleeding, and they didn't know what's going on. They didn't know where's the terrorist. So I was lying on the floor, and I was aiming to the store at where the terrorist was. At that point, after a few seconds, they realized what's going on. They started to run to us. The first soldier to reach us was Ori Shtub. He was a soldier of mine. He was a medic too. The first thing you should do when a soldier gets injured is to eliminate the danger first, because otherwise you can get injured as well. And everyone knows that, especially medics. But Ori didn't care. He didn't think about himself for a second. He tried to pull me first, and I just couldn't live with the fact that he's gonna try to save me and get shot because of me. So I don't know how, because I couldn't move myself, but I managed to push him away from me. He fell on his back. Two other soldiers came and started to look after the terrorist in the same store. As they were shooting and throwing grenades, I realized I'm safe, and they started to drag me to another store. As they're dragging me, the team's commander was looking for the terrorist. So I gave orders to clear another store to make sure that he's not there, and they can treat my bleeding inside safely. They realized the terrorist was gone. He managed to get away, but that was my luck eventually, because otherwise I wouldn't be here today probably. So from that point, they called for emergency evacuation to Sheba by helicopter, of course. That was like 50 minutes from that point. I was at Sheba already. I was hospitalized for 2.5 months until like the end of February. Ever since, I'm in daily rehab, still working. When I had to make a decision, I knew my instinct told me to do the right thing and to go and save my friends, because that's what we're used to, that's what we know as IDF soldiers. I didn't think about the danger, as well as Ori. He ran to me, didn't think about himself. He knew he could get shot. He didn't care. He wanted to save me. I just want to give you like illustration, that's the word, illustration, to our enemies, Hezbollah, and that's real from intelligence that they teach us. If I'm a Hezbollah soldier, Hezbollah terrorist, and in my team, my brother is with me at the same team, and we're getting in a battle with IDF soldiers, and let's say there is a situation where my brother is injured, bleeding to death, and in front of me there is this IDF soldier bleeding to death. I'm gonna save the IDF soldier and gonna leave my brother to die, not because I hate my brother, not because I love the IDF soldier, but because I wanna take him and torture him and make more damage to the IDF. That's how they taught. That's how they teach them. They have been taught to hate. Sorry, הפרעת קשב קצת. That's the difference between us and them. We are taught to love. We are taught to support each other. כל ישראל ערבים זה לזה. All the Jews are responsible for each other. They have been taught to hate. We are not like them at all. We can see that when there is a hate crime or a terror attack against Jews all over the world. Every Jew cares about it. Every Jew has an itch when they see it on the news. That's who we are. We are connected to each other. You can't run from it. That's who we are, and that's why we are better than them. Captain Eitan Oster from Agos. He was a team commander in Agos. Before he entered Lebanon a few months ago, he made a video of him saying, by the way, he died a few days after that. He had a video of himself saying that the true warrior fights not because he hates what's in front of him, but for the love for who is behind him. And that's us. That's the Jewish nation. That's why we are strong as one. That's why Am Yisrael Chai is forever. And I'm here to להדגיש את זה, תן לי? To emphasize it. So, thank you everyone. I would like to introduce you to Steve Wayland. Steve Wayland. Yeah, get it. He's the senior of our delegation. He already been to a delegation with the Itamu Lemanam, and we're gonna watch his video together. Thank you.
בין חיילים בצבא תמיד יהיה עזרה, תמיד יהיה סיוע. תמיד ידעתי שיהיה שם מישהו שיבוא, יעזור לי, יוציא אותי מצרה. ואני ידעתי שאני אוכל גם לתרום את מה שיש לי ולעזור לאחרים. בגיל 16 התנדבתי במד"א, וכשהגיע הזמן לשרת בצבא, בחרתי בקורס פרמדיקים כי ידעתי שזה ייתן לי את המקום לעזור לאחרים, להציל. ביוני 2006 פרצה מלחמת לבנון השנייה. והגעתי ליחידת פלס"ר 401, פלס"ר שריון, קיבלנו פקודה של איסוף מידע שיוכלו לעבור בשלום. נכנסנו רגלית, ואני זוכר שהלילה הראשון הגענו למטע זיתים באזור קנטרה. היינו צריכים להיות במטע זיתים הזה במשך יום, וברדת בחשיכה התחלנו לנוע שוב. והכיוון היה לחצות את ואדי סלוקי. איתי היה צמד ברזל שלי, שמרנו אחד על השני, ונהיינו חברים מאוד טובים. 5:30 בבוקר בשבת, איתי בעצם בא ומקים אותי בשקשוק. מהניכור, יש פצועים, ואפילו לא חושב, אני כבר באוטומט. עם הקסדה, עם הציוד של 30 קילו על הגב, מתחיל לרוץ, אנחנו מתחילים לעלות על הר שהוא בשיפוע, ואני מתחיל להאט. ואיתי רואה אותי, והוא מסתובב, והוא אומר לי, תוריד את התיק. והוא שם את זה עליו, עם כל הציוד שהוא לוקח, עוד לא שם עליו את התיק הרפואי שלי. הוא מתחיל לגרור אותי למעלה ומעלה ההר, ואומר לי, יאללה, קדימה, אתה יכול. אז אנחנו מגיעים לפצוע. באותו רגע, אחד המפקדים צועק לי מאחורה, חבר'ה, תרדו למטה. ואני זוכר שירדתי לברך אחת. איתי עומד מולי, שמעתי שריקה, צלצול גבוה כזה. אני רואה את איתי נפגע, נהדתי, המפקד שצעק מקודם, בא אליי ואומר לי, אם אנחנו לא יוצאים מכאן עכשיו, הלכנו. אנחנו מעלים את איתי על האלונקה, ואני בודק לו שוב את הסימני חיים, ואני רואה שאין כבר איתי, שהוא נהרג. ואנחנו מתחילים לרדת בהר עם האלונקה, עם איתי, ואני מתחיל לבכות. אחד החובשים שלי בא אליי, ואומר לי, אנחנו צריכים אותך, אתה הפרמדיק שלנו, כי יש עוד פצועים שיורדים מההר. בעצם חוויתי 24 שעות של טיפול בפצועים, תחת אש, תחת פיצוצים, של ארטילריה מאחורה, ומטס מעלינו. מגיע אליי חייל צעיר, נשרף בתוך הטנק שלו. הוא כבר לא איתי, הוא לא בהכרה. אני מצליח להכניס לו צינור לקנה, להנשים אותו ולאוורר אותו. וראיתי את הצבע שלו חוזר, וראיתי בן אדם שהוא בעצם חוזר לעצמו. באותו יום, ב-24 שעות, טיפלנו ב-60 פצועים. מי שיכולנו להציל הצלנו. אבל את איתי חבר שלי, לא יכולתי להציל. וזה הפציעה שלי. אני פצוע נפש. בשבילי זאת הייתה סגירת מעגל. למצוא אותך, ולדעת שאתה שלם.
מה שסיפרו לי זה שהגעתי, שפינו אותי מהאתר, בעצם הגעתי לתא הגל. ואנשים, אנשי צוות הראשונים לא רצו לטפל, כי אמרו חבל על הזמן, הוא בכלל לא מגיע לבית חולים בחיים. החלטת לטפל בעצם כנגד כל הסיכויים, כי הרופאים אמרו שאין סיכוי. ואתה החלטת שגם אם יש לנו סיכוי להפסיק כל השירות, אתה מנסה. בן אדם כמוך, זה בן אדם שאני חייב לו הכל. זאת אומרת, זה שהתחתנתי, וזה שיש לי ילדים, וכל ההצלחה שלי בחיים, יש לך אחוזים בזה.
ידעתי שאתה בצרה, ושאני יכול לעזור לך. ואני מרגיש שזו הרעות האמיתית. אני הרגשתי אכזבה גדולה כאשר איתי נהרג. והיה לי מאוד קשה, היה לי מאוד עצוב עם עצמי. זה היה אירוע טראומטי, שגרם לי לחלק מהתחושות שאני מרגיש היום בפוסט-טראומה. אבל אני גם יודע שהמפגש שלי איתך החלים אותי באיזשהו מקום. וזה שכן הצלחתי להציל אותך. עצם זה שאתה נמצא כאן היום איתי, ושאנחנו יכולים לדבר, נותן לי את החוסן והחוזק להתמודד גם עם חסרונות שאני מרגיש.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really special to be standing up here today. I'm going to try and not repeat what you saw in the video. My buddy Ro'i, who I was very lucky to be able to have the skills to help and save his life, just had his 4th child. Yeah. So as he said, I get credit, I get part of that as well. On a more serious note, we were able to celebrate his eldest daughter's bat mitzvah together. I was there as well as the soldier who actually physically pulled him out of the burning tank. And the 3 of us were able to get a magnet, as we do in Israel. Israel is all about the magnets. When you go to an event, a wedding, a bar mitzvah, whatever it is, there's always a magnet guy. And you have to find the magnet guy. So his parents grabbed me right away and say, "Come, let's go to the magnet guy." I want to tell you a little bit about what I do today. My injury was 18 years ago, and I feel that it represents who I was. It doesn't necessarily resemble who I am in entirety. So today I have 2 roles in my active reserve duty. On one hand, I'm still a paramedic, and I work with a field hospital. We have inflatable tents, and we think of MASH, right, with all of the amenities involved. And we are capable of replacing a hospital with our force and our staff. And at the beginning of the war, we had an exercise to make sure that we were ready. So I'm on call for that. But my main role in reserve duty is as a mentor for other post-trauma soldiers. I went through 3 months of training with psychologists and social workers in order to make myself amenable to help others and contribute back. And I feel that that's probably one of the biggest contributions that I can make. It's a unique skill that I am blessed to have, to be able to know that darkness and to be able to know that someone can benefit from that. They don't have to take the long road. There is a shortcut. I like to analogize this, and it's hard to say with everything that's going on, that post-trauma soldiers feel like sometimes they're in a tunnel and it's dark. And I've been in that tunnel, but I can explain to them that there's a flashlight around the corner, and they have the option to be able to go and turn on that flashlight, but they have to choose that, the same way that I have to choose that. So part of my daily coping is through making good choices for myself, whether that be through nutrition, whether that be through exercise. I swim a kilometer every day. And it has affected my body in a positive way. And I feel happier and healthier. I believe that having a strong core as well is important to me, being stronger for others. In my day job, I'm a teacher, so I do feel that that contribution as well gives me immediate gratification. And when I have students who come up to me at the end of the year saying how thankful they were to be in my class, it makes me feel grateful to be alive and grateful to be around. I'm also a musician, and I write my own music and I play music, and I'd like to play something maybe that I wrote, if that's okay by everyone. That's okay. Is it on piano? Straight up piano. Okay. This is actually single, was released on Spotify this month. So you can find it, it's on the link on the live stream. And this is called My Rock. You never give up, you never surrender. You find what you need, you already know. You open your heart, need to hold on for dear life as we ride this roller coaster of emotion. You're my rock, you're the one that I choose every day. No matter come what may, you may scream, you may shout, you might leave or walk out as I lose the controls. Yes, hold on to that soul, you live your life in the now. Won't you please show me how? Never give up, never surrender. Find what you need, you already know. Open your heart, need to hold on for dear life as we ride this roller coaster of emotions. It's been such a long, long time, and I hope it's not too late. I want to hear everything that we can still create. Never give up, never surrender. Find what you need, you already know. Open your heart, live the new life as we ride this roller coaster of emotion. Never give up, never surrender. Find what you need, you already know. You open your heart, you need to hold on for dear life as we ride this roller coaster of emotion. Na na na, na 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 na, na na na, na na na, na 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 na. To come back, thank you. Just to come back for a second, I use my music as my therapy. It's part of the way that I express my feelings. So when I wrote that song, I originally thought that I was writing it for my wife, and then I read it again and again and again, and I was like, no, I'm writing this for me. I'm talking to myself. This is my mantra that I can say to myself every day. You never give up, you never surrender. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you for letting me share. I wanted to say one more word also about what we represent. I think that it's important. Itamu Lemanam, the organization that we're here for. We're an educational broadcast organization, and what we do is we spread the messages of core values and ethics that we believe in, whether that be sacrifice and camaraderie, and allowing us as soldiers to come and speak to you, as well as people in Israel, students as well as adults. And it's an honor, it really is, to be able to be here and to stand here today. And I hope to come back at some point soon, if not me, then other soldiers, and happy to receive the welcoming that, the warm welcoming that you guys are able to give us. So thank you again. introduce you, Norman, but you're a lovely guy.
So are you, Stephen. Hi, everybody, and thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Matan. Many of you know that I'm Norman Freed. I'm a short guy.
You're a little guy.
I'm a little guy. Everybody, many of you know that I do trauma therapy for a living, and I wanted to talk just for a brief few minutes about how we can help our soldiers as well as survivors of the Nova Festival, as well as some of the hostages that were released in the first round of negotiations. But before I do, I just wanted to say to you personally, Steve, that I have found that those of us who go through trauma actually have a dual citizenship. We live in two worlds. We live in the world of the trauma, and we live in the world of those that are as of yet unafflicted. And we need to be able to traverse between the boundary and the border as often as every day. But those who walk through the darkness of that trauma come out with the medicine for others who need it, and you carry the medicine. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the work that I do with trauma patients, but first I wanted to kind of steep it in Tanakh. The inner world of the healthy child is filled with wonder and awe and a belief in a benevolent world, a world filled with order and fairness. But for children growing up in Israel, where security, safety, and the promise of peace is challenged, if not entirely broken, a belief in the benevolence of the world and its people is very hard to achieve. This is the dialectic of the Jewish narrative, the history of our people. We see this from the beginning of time, from Breshit. We see this in the binding of Isaac and the paradoxical expression of God's love, and Jacob's struggle with the angel on that dark night, and his experience of daybreak filled with promise and hope, of the Israelites' arduous journey in the desert for 40 years with their ultimate arrival at the promised land. We see this with Jonah alone in the belly of darkness and his discovery of faith eventually. And of course, with Job in a fatal tempest, who learns of his redemption in Olam Haba. As Jews, we have always wrestled with chaos, suffering, and despair before being blessed with a more noble, pure, and healthy life. This is what we call Geulah, redemption. But first, we struggle with post-traumatic stress. I want to read to you just a few signs and symptoms of PTSD that we all have in this life, some more than others, but you'll see yourself in some of these symptoms. There's a cognitive triad, which includes flashbacks to the event, where we were when we heard the news, where we were when we experienced the trauma. There are flash forwards, which are involuntary fantasies of the future. We start writing our eulogy. We start imagining what people will say about us. A hypervigilance to the recurrence of danger, which is a fancy term for waiting for the next shoe to drop. And those of us who've been hurt by life are always waiting for the next shoe to drop. And sometimes it does, especially in Israel. And it doesn't mean that we were right. It just means that we are traumatized even more. These are the cognitive effects of trauma. But there are also behavioral ones, which include repetitive behaviors. We find in children, they will continue to say and do the things that were done to them in an effort to show you what they are going through. The absence of belief in a positive or limitless future. We begin to challenge our faith, our emunah. Fears of things that we went through that remind us of what we went through. We find ourselves driving out of the way because some building reminds us of where we were hurt. We stop calling people who, for some reason, create triggers. We've all heard of the word trigger. What's interesting about that word is that those of us who have been traumatized carry within themselves the ammunition, and when they see a trigger, they implode all on their own. This is what happens with PTSD. What I want to do is I want to talk about and then I want to show you a quick film. I want to talk to you about what trauma does to our soldiers, to our survivors, to all of us who are secondarily traumatized by being lovers of Israel. There's a feeling of disempowerment. We can no longer affect change in this world. There's a disconnection from others. Those that haven't gone through what we've gone through can't appreciate what we're feeling. And at times, a lack of faith in an ordered world. So recovery for our soldiers involves empowering the survivor, helping him and her recognize they can make changes, they can do even the smallest of things to make the greatest of change, to create new and healthy attachments, and to reestablish a sense of faith and safety. And so treatment, more than anything else, and you'll see this in the film, treatment more than anything else involves allowing the person who's been traumatized to tell his story. And every one of us has a story to tell. And that's what we heard tonight. We saw Matan and Steve tell their story, and what they were doing was healing themselves as they were educating us, and together we all find a way to live a better life. There are 4 reasons why the telling of story is so therapeutic for soldiers. Number 1, and first I want to say, trauma is buried alive. It's like nuclear waste. It's non-biodegradable. So if you bury that memory, that experience, it will come out, as we said, in flashbacks, flash forwards, fear of more danger around the corner. We always say if you don't cry with your eyes, you will cry with another organ or another behavior, with a failing marriage, with poor performance at work, with not being good to your children. So every one of us has a story to tell. And when you find someone who's healthy and wise and trained to hear your story in all of its gory details, 4 things happen. Number 1, there is a chance for the person who was traumatized to own this story. This is my story. This is what happened to me. And the more they tell their story, the more it becomes a part of them. But not just something that happened to them, but something they can control by telling it. Secondly, when we let someone tell their story, we do so in a way that stops them from being minimized. How many of us have attended the house of a Shiva, or awake, or sat by the bedside of someone in pain, and we've witnessed other loved ones, well-intended loved ones, say things like, they're there. It's okay, it's going to be okay. God only gives you what you can handle. It all works out for the best. God needed another flower in his garden. The best place for him is where he is now. I remember when my father died, and someone told my mother, he's in a better place. She looked at him and said, there's no better place than my arms. So when we allow you who have been hurt by life to tell your story, you begin the process of healing because you recognize that we don't minimize. We don't what we call silence. Here's an example of the silencing response, very popular. Someone tells you at a Shiva how they're feeling about their loss, and someone next to them says, how about them Dodgers? They really did it this time to our Yankees. And that's known as the silencing response. We want our loved ones to feel better, and we think that in distracting them or making some statements that we think are kind, that they'll be better. But words rarely penetrate the heart of the griever, of the traumatized. They may be salve or balm for those who are speaking, but the only thing that helps those who are hurt is a kind look, a loving touch, curious heart, and the endurance, the ability to maintain an intimate connection with that person's story. But most importantly, what happens when we allow soldiers and survivors of Nova to tell their story, and I sit with survivors of Nova every week. There are many that are here in New York, and I give them free therapy in my office in the city. And they tell me the same thing over and over and over again. But a typical good-mannered friend might say, I know that, you told me that, but what haven't you told me? But as a trauma PTSD therapist, we say, wow, tell me again. Not because I need to hear it, but because you need to say it. When you find someone who is healthy enough to listen to your story, the healing process begins. Remember, our job as therapeutic agents for those with PTSD is to help them embrace the pain so they can place the pain somewhere where it no longer assaults them. Now, I'm getting a nod from Steve. Thank you. That's an honor. I travel back and forth to Israel every 3 months with a film crew. We're in the process of making a documentary film called We Will Rise Again, and it's interviews with soldiers at Tel HaShomer Hospital who are in Gaza, now in Lebanon as well, survivors of Nova, as well as those that were able to get out from the tunnels in Gaza, typical moms and dads who just live every day waiting for the news of their loved ones coming home from the war. I'd like to show you what we call a sizzle reel, which is a 5-minute, Rabbi has seen this, I was lucky enough to show it to him in his living room, 5 minutes preview of what will be a 40-minute documentary about PTSD in our soldiers and our survivors.
I was held captive for 54 days. It was very much aggressive and very much violent. And I was dragged by 13 Hamas terrorists to a car and then into Gaza. In Gaza you don't have days, you don't have hours, you don't even have minutes, you have seconds.
We all the time saw on every part on the way bodies and cars that burned and things that you want to understand that it's in your country, how people can do that shit, how people can do such worse things.
I got bullets in my head, came out from my jaw, and then I was like unconscious 2 weeks, and I have like brain damage. I don't speak like 2 months, don't move.
I was there lying on the ground on October 7th when bullets were flying above my head, with the understanding of the necessity of telling the story of what happened on October 7th.
So when the rocket started, everyone went into the bomb shelters thinking that that was the main threat, was getting blown up by these rockets overhead. Little did they know that minutes after just taking cover in these shelters, terrorists on gliders and in trucks came and started throwing grenades, shooting at them from inside.
Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, although it enjoys a colloquial usage in everyday language, really is a very severe mental disorder. And every Israeli soldier and every hostage released, rescued, or yet to come home, as well as every mother and father in Israel who looks above and sees a helicopter thinking it's bringing their child home to them, alive or dead, has PTSD. And the way we help them overcome this PTSD is to allow them to tell their story over and over again, and to help them tolerate the silence that ushers in the flashbacks, as well as to have faith in a life that is filled with hope, determination, and goodness.
Basically, no one can see the injury. It's like, in Israel we call it shakuf, transparent. It's like you can walk past me and you don't see that I have an issue. And it's not like I want to show you that I have issue, but it is there.
One of the reasons, like, if you go and visit injured soldiers, even soldiers that got injured now, the last few months in the hospital, you'll keep hearing them telling you their story over and over and over. And we push them to do it. Because every time that you'll tell the story, you'll process it again. And you'll see it again. And you'll go through the things again. It might trigger you. But I want you to be triggered now when you're in the hospital, when I can treat you, and not when you'll be back home the first night you're alone with your mom and dad and you'll break up the house.
I'm not sure how to define myself if I'm post-traumatic or not. If to tell you the truth, I'm still in the situation. I'm still in Gaza. For me, okay. But when there is a minute of silence and you're not talking anymore, then you start to picture, did it really happen?
My way of, I cannot say if it's really therapy, but the way that I kind of deal with my experience, I don't stop. I don't lie on the beach and think. I don't have time to think. In 7 months, I've shot over 300,000 images. I shoot every day.
This is what we do. We go back every couple of months. We talk to tremendous amount of people. We have many, many hours, 40 hours, 50 hours of interviews that we're cutting up into what will be a documentary that will hopefully train other clinicians as well as everyday lay people on how we can learn to listen better and pour our hearts in to heal those that are trying to help us live a life of freedom. Thank you guys.
Tonight's program is sponsored by IDF and U.S. military veterans, including an active duty member and parents of an IDF soldier currently serving. The TBS community is deeply grateful for making this program making this program possible. Steve and Matan, your stories moved us profoundly. Your sacrifices embody your commitment to our shared heritage, Jewish values, and the Jewish people worldwide. Now I invite my husband, U.S. Air National Guard Lieutenant Colonel David Feldman, to lead all IDF and U.S. military veterans who are here in a salute to you. Veterans, please rise.
Okay. Thank you, Cindy, for asking me this honor to give a salute to these heroes. I'd rather be giving them a hug, but I'll do it. I'm a graduate of the U.S. Air Force Officer Training School, so I'm going to tell you how to do it the way we did it in the Air Force School. So I'll call the room to order, so that will mean everyone rise. When I say, okay, I didn't say it yet. Okay, I'm explaining to you how to do it the Air Force way. Okay, I'm going to give you the authentic Air Force way to offer a salute. I want to be respectful and do it correctly. Okay, so this is how we do it. So first I'm going to call the room to order, then the room to attention, and then salute. Okay, that's the way it's done. Okay, so room ready, that means rise. Okay, hands hot, salute. At ease.
Thank you. Thank you. Your mission has been to bring hope. Your mission has been to bring hope, create hope, and carry it home. To honor you, we've prepared some gifts. Please welcome IDF Sergeant Major Elaine Ben-Levy for this presentation.
There Hebrew limerick that comes to mind that I think is perfect for now. It goes like this: Mi beiti el beitcha yesh alfei kilometer, mi libi el libcha en afilu millimeter. From our house to your house, there are thousands of kilometers. From our heart to your heart, there is no distance. This is a little token of our appreciation to show our unconditional support and unconditional love for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine, for your heartfelt words. Stephen Matan, we hope these gifts remind you of our community's gratitude and your resilience. Additionally, we have gifts for you to bring back to soldiers on the front lines. Would you please come up? A neighboring synagogue, continue, this is for you, this is for you. So a neighboring synagogue project, Terry's Angels, in partnership with the Suffolk Y, prepared personal backpacks with essential items for IDF soldiers. Steve, we hope you'll deliver one to a soldier serving on the Northern Front. And Matan, we hope you will deliver yours to a soldier serving in Gaza. And these bags carry our love, hope for peace, and prayers for their safe return. Yasher koach for all you've done and continue to do, and may God be with you always. And now I'd like to open the floor for Q&A.
Well, just a quick phrase. Cindy asked me to bring that to a soldier who serves in Gaza. When I land in Israel on the 13th of November, I'm going straight from the airport to my brother's ceremony. He finishes the commander's course, and then 2 days after that is in Gaza. My brother recruited to the to the army about a week before I was injured, when I was in Gaza. And after I was injured, I didn't know anything. Like, I knew he's recruiting, didn't know well. After I was injured, they told me in the hospital that he joined the exact same brigade, same division, and same unit as I recruited to. It's literally like he came to replace me. And if that's okay, that goes to him.
There are no coincidences. And protect you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I don't have a brother serving in Lebanon, but we're happy to answer questions if people want to ask.
So go ahead. If anyone has a question, I'll bring you the mic. Oh, perfect. Just approach the microphone. Yes, you said you had a question.
I'm a Vietnam veteran suffering from PTSD. Would you explain why U.S. servicemen have a high rate of suicides versus you don't hear about any Israeli soldiers committing the same act?
Thank you.
Here, that's okay. It's a really good question. Thank you for sharing. And I feel your pain. I think that it isn't covered as generally in the news, in the media, as it should be. There was just recently a young lady who was at the Nova Festival who took her own life after a year of suffering. It was quite well documented, actually, in Israeli media. And I think that she reached that place where she couldn't find the flashlight. And she didn't have someone like me there to say, you can find it. You still have that capability. And I think it's important for everyone to remember that there are times of darkness, but we can find that light. And it's about being able to remember that that light is there. But you're right, it is an issue. And I agree with that. And I think it's important for us to know, and if there's someone in the community who's suffering, that they can have someone to speak to, and that there's always someone to talk to.
Thank you for that. Yes, Celine.
Matan, you and I spoke before the program, and I told you that our temple wrote a lot of letters to soldiers in Israel, over 600 letters, and you told me that you were a recipient of such letters. If you could please tell us about that.
So when we were in Gaza, you basically see nothing but soldiers and dirt and fightings, and like I would say once a week we would get like a big package with I don't know, cakes and a lot of letters from Israel, from all around the world. I don't know if I have one specifically from Great Neck, but every letter was, I can't even describe how empowering it was for us. Literally to sit down at the evening after really tough day, tough week, and just see that you have someone who trusts you. You have someone who believes in you. You have someone who is looking at you and sees a hero. Can't describe how fulfilling is that. And after I was injured, a lot of letters came to us. I have a whole file in my house of just these letters, and that's a person. Thank you. It means a lot to us.
Thank you. Is there another question? Yes, Kent.
I think that general feeling here that Jews have in America is that we are very connected to Israel and to the soldiers, but at the same time we have a feeling that we can't do enough, because there's almost two sides to that coin. There's the side that literally is in the fight and sacrificing their lives, and then there is that other side of the coin, which is us, and we have lots of empathy and lots of sympathy, but at the same time a feeling that we're not doing enough, and that we're not sacrificing, and that we're not contributing to this effort to save the entire nation of Israel all around the world. What can you say about that?
I mean, I think that I understand where you're coming from, and I can hear that you feel that you don't do enough. But from my perspective, just being able to be here and give you firsthand view of what's going on and how things are gives you the skills and the tools to be able to defend us amongst the nations. We're in Israel, we're domestic, whereas people around us, we need that support. It's not just about empathy, it's about the broadcast and about communicating really what's going on, what's the truth. There's so much junk in the news and in social media and things that aren't real. And the fact that you can come and say, this is real and this isn't, is already a win. And I think that's a win for Israel. You can add something if you'd like.
I just wanted to say, from our side of those who sacrifice their life, first of all, we have zero expectations for you to do the same. For us, it's obvious that we do that, and it's obvious that for us that you do you. And I truly, truly believe, especially after this whole injury stuff, and I truly believe that everything is happening for a reason, and everyone is doing their part in the world. And I know that just by asking this question, you're doing enough because you want to, and your intention is good enough, and you are doing. It's not that you're sitting down and not doing anything and just, I don't know. You are doing something. Those letters, I'm telling you, just by that, it gave us a lot of power. So if even a letter, it's something. You are doing what you need to, and you really have nothing to be sorry about or feel like you don't do enough. I'm complete with everything you do.
Thank you. Okay, we have more questions.
I wanted to answer that alongside what you said, Matan and Steve, which is that when we in this country say and feel that we aren't doing enough, this is an example of our own version of secondary traumatic stress disorder or vicarious traumatization. We are traumatized, and one of the symptoms of trauma is that we feel worthless. We can't affect change. And so your very question is helping Americans to identify with Israelis. The fact that you are traumatized by feeling that you can't do enough means you're doing a lot. And the more we really want to help, the more we're helping. And so the smallest amount of contact, dveikut with Hashem, but also with our brethren in the smallest of ways, is exponentially healing. Just the feeling of not doing enough is magnanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next part of the program. I'm going to invite up Ronit Oz from El Ami. I'm sorry, I can't hear. Wait, say that again? Oh, this young man, okay.
Where did you sleep in Gaza, and was it hard, or did it feel safe to fall asleep?
Well, so Gaza is built, so in front of Israel border, there is like fields of farms and, growing trees. So at the beginning of the war, you conquer land slowly. So at the beginning, you stay at the fields. There is a unit in the IDF called combat engineering. It basically, you change the combat field to whatever you want. They have a huge D9.
It's a large bulldozer.
Yeah, who can basically just run trees off and make a whole room for soldiers to stay somehow safely. So that's where you stay at the beginning, where there are no buildings. When you get deeper in Gaza, there are buildings. You just conquer them during the day. You conquer a few buildings, and you choose the best one, which can see the whole area, which no one can control you, no one is higher than you. You place guards in every window, in every corner of the building, and that way you stay safe. You sleep an hour and wake up for half an hour of guarding. That's basically how you sleep. Sometimes it's you're gonna guard for an hour and then sleep half an hour. It could be. It really depends, but that's basically it. And you are just sleeping. You work really, really hard during the day. Your body just falls asleep, and the guard that guarding right now is waking you up for your watch. It's a good question.
Thank you. And is Ronit Oh, there you are. Ronit Oz from Elami. Come on.
Good evening, everyone. What an amazing evening. This is actually my first delegation with Together for Them, and it's been a really meaningful and emotional evening for me as well. As I walked into the building, I met Cindy and Wendy, and what I didn't know was that Omer Neutra, who you could see here in the poster, was a counselor in the school. And last week, I live in Ra'anana, Israel, and last week on Tuesday night, they had a special event in honor of Omer's 24th birthday. He's now 24 years old, even though it says 22 here. He spent his second birthday in Gaza, along with another 100 hostages that obviously we are praying that they will be released as soon as possible. And I just wanted to share with you the video that I took of the evening last week that commemorated his birthday. Those were 24 yellow balloons that they released in honor of his birthday. We hope that they get released as soon as possible. Bezrat Hashem.
Thank you. And now, Judy. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I want to respect all of your time, so I'll be very brief. First of all, I want to thank Temple Bashom for this evening. Thank each and every one of you for coming. It is not nothing. The fact that you came here this evening to listen and hear Matan and Steve's story, it means so much to us and to them. And first of all, I wanted to thank you. I want to thank Rabbi Ben Gideon and the Cantor and Cindy and Wendy and each and every one of you for coming. I just wanted to say 2 words about the organization. So we're Together for Them, which is a project of El Ami El Atzmi, which is an educational organization, and Together for Them was founded to bring wounded IDF soldiers to schools and communities to tell their inspiring stories. And what you may or may not realize is that it's a win-win situation, because on the one hand, we're being inspired and we're honoring and respecting these soldiers, but they, by telling their stories, as Dr. Fried said, by telling their stories over and over and over again, it's therapeutic for them, it's empowering for them, and after fighting on the battlefield and giving their all and sacrificing all that they had for the land of Israel and for the Jewish nation, they can continue, even after being wounded, continue to contribute to society by telling their stories and educating and talking, especially in communities, of course, but especially to students in schools, so the next generation can learn about the land of Israel and all the amazing things that we have in common. And I personally hope, me and Ronit and everyone from Together for Them, we hope that this newly found connection and bond that we have with your community, that we can cultivate this in the future. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm happy that we were able to come. And I invite each and every one of you from the lovely program that you arranged to look at the QR code and become partners with our organization. And Thank you again, and Am Yisrael Chai.
Am Yisrael Chai.
And thank you to Judy, to Ronit, to Wendy, and to Cindy for sticking with it and making this program happen, which I think we've all benefited from. We're going to close now with a prayer for Israel and with Hatikva. So if you're able to, please stand. And you can find the words to the prayer for Israel in the red or gray Siddur on page 208 or in the blue Shabbat Siddur on page 149. And then we're going to sing Hatikva. Avinu Shabashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'go'elo, Barech eminat Yisrael, Reshit Smicha Kulatenu, Hagen Aleha be'avrat chastecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha v'amitcha l'rasheha, Sareha v'yotzea, V'takneim be'etzat tova milfanecha, Chazek idei meginei eretz kodshenu, V'anchilem Eloheinu Yeshua, V'ateret nisachon te'atrem, V'natata shalom ba'aretz, V'simcha t'om le'oshveha, V'nomar Amen.
כל עוד בלבם פנימה, נפש יהודי הומיה, ולפתי מזרח קדימה, עין לציון צופיה, עוד לא תקוותנו, התקווה בת שנות 2000, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון ירושלים, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון ירושלים.